And I want very quickly, starting with Vir Sanghvi, for our experts to run our viewers through who you think read out the oath of office best. What is it that you made of the ceremony so far?
I actually thought Maneka Gandhi read it out very well. I thought Harsimrat read it out well. I thought Smriti ran it well. It's interesting that the women seem to be more forceful and more articulate, with the notable exception of Ravi Shankar, who was more bombastic than usual. But otherwise, the women were more measured and forceful.
Dilip Charan?
I think it's also interesting that the number of people sworn in is exactly equal to the number of Congress MPs in Parliament. He's sworn in 44 people. And that's the exact number.
45.
Yeah, 44. Well, he's sworn in 44.
Kamal Farooqi, we've got Najma Heptullah as the minority representation. Woman, minority representation in the cabinet. What are you making of what we've seen so far?
I think it's a good beginning, and we hope that things will start doing well for the minorities as well.
Okay, I want to bring in Shiv Vishwanathan here.
Okay. Well, actually, I found the women more interesting. I think they're able to play with language in such a way they can project personality. Well, the men have a kind of flatter note. They're already bureaucrats.
Now let's look at who the big gainers are so far. The fact that you've got Nirmala Sitharaman as a Minister of State with independent charge.
Yep.
The fact that you've got Smriti Irani as a cabinet minister. She's probably the biggest winner tonight.
Oh, without a doubt. I think it's also interesting that you've got so many, as you've tweeted a few minutes ago, it's interesting that so many of the people you see defending the BJP on debates have now got important posts. Nirmala Sitharaman has come out of nowhere to get independent charge. I'm not even sure she's an MP at the moment. I don't think she's an MP. She's not.
At this time,
she's not an
she
MP, right?
That's correct. And therefore,
fact,
the fastest way to reach the cabinet, therefore, is by being on TV.
There is a precedent. In the Vajpayee government, one of their most articulate spokesmen on television was Arun Jaitley. They took him off TV, they made him Minister for Information Broadcasting, and they made him a Member of Parliament afterwards. So it's always the quickest route in the BJP.
And look at where he's reached.
Well, now he's got two heavy portfolio's, two important portfolios.
So therefore,
we're not sure of
gossip
very
goes.
Yeah.
That's
that
how the
hasn't
gossip
yet been
goes.
announced. The only person who's announced so far what she's got is Uma Bharti on her Twitter handle, who said that she's got water resources and cleaning up the Ganga. Everyone else has been very, very, very. Dr. Varmani, what are you making of the proceedings we've seen so far? Kiran Rijju currently being sworn in.
Well, I read somewhere that there were 1/4 of the
कर्तव्यों के समयक निर्वहन के लिए ऐसा करना अपेक्षित हो, मैं प्रत्यक्ष अथवा अप्रत्यक्ष रूप से संसूचित या प्रकट नहीं करूंगा।
From Arunachal Pradesh, just taking the oath of office, Mr. Parthasarathi, I want your sense on the proceedings that we've seen so far.
Well, I think go along with Vir and everybody else, that the ladies were certainly more dignified and poised the way they went about it. Kiran Rijju, I'm happy because in Arunachal Pradesh, there is, after recent developments on the Chinese frontier, concerns about whether India really means, taking them into account when facing the Chinese. And he has been a great realist and a great proponent of the Arunachal cause. I think he really deserves his place in the Council of Ministers. It will boost morale in a border state.
Okay. Mr. Ranade, your sense of the biggest gainer in what we've seen so far, the new pecking order in the government that's been established?
Well, I'd say that I agree with what's been said about the manner in which the ladies have sort of taken the oath of office. But I would also say that the first 3 or 4, the real heavyweights, they appeared to me to be very confident the way they spoke. And particularly the manner in which Mr. Modi carried himself, it was very that he knew what he was doing kind of thing.
No, he did seem a little nervous.
You thought so?
I just got a sense, a slight hesitation, and it's a big moment. A slight hesitation, slight nervousness is only natural.
Well, I missed that. I thought he was quite confident. And yes, there are some very big gainers here. Smriti Irani is one. I think the people that you mentioned who were on TV earlier as their spokesman, they've done very well. But it's
Rahul, I think you have a point.
Fairly strong.
I think there's a sense of awe. He feels the awe of being, sworn in.
And this is the moment he's worked for, dreamt
gravity
about,
of the moment.
to finally be there. That's Sanjeev Balyan, Minister of State. He's the MP from Muzaffarnagar, which is where the riots happened. He was accused in those cases. He's now been rewarded by being made a Minister of State. That's Subhash Goyal, Chairman Z Enterprises, a lot of top media proprietors attending the swearing-in ceremony. In fact, this has literally been a veritable call of who's who of Indian politics, in fact SAARC politics, a massive show of strength. Vir Sanghvi, have you seen something similar in terms of a show of strength with so many notables turning up for swearing?
In terms of SAARC people, no. In terms of the who's who of Delhi attending, yes. In fact, it's not difficult to get everybody in if you have 5,000 people. Normally, it's much smaller and it's much more select. But the fact that industrialists have turned up is not without precedent. As I think Arvind said earlier, if you are ever invited to Rashtrapati Bhavan or you're invited by the Prime Minister of India, you don't usually say no.
And the other thing that someone like a Sanjeev Balyan being made minister shows that this government is confident of what it is doing. Forget what people in Muzaffarnagar, the riot affected, think of him. They've got the mandate. They will do what they think is best, Shiv Vishwanathan. They'll bash on regardless.
BJP knows how to rewrite history. One way is to have amnesia about it.
No, but they're challenging the court cases that were leveled against him, saying that those were part of a conspiracy.
Precedents, when it comes to riots, it's very easy to forget events.
General VP Malik is also with us at this time from Chandigarh viewing proceedings. General Malik, what are you making of this oath-taking ceremony, of all that we've seen so far, sir?
Well, it's a big ceremony for each one of them, and obviously there has to be something new that is going to happen. But we were talking about how they came across while taking oath. I found people who are used to being on the TV or on the screen, they came out definitely better. And second thing that I noticed, that the younger people, they also appeared quite confident.
Sure.
Which is a good thing, that the younger lot of people who have come, even though they may not be used to coming on the TV screen, etc., but they came out quite confidently. And the other thing that shows up is that everyone seems to be keen to work for Mr. Modi.
Oh, absolutely. Everyone knows where the sun lies, and that's the sun that must be worshipped. And in that sense, it's absolutely clear that this is not a cabinet of equals. Yeah. There's Narendra Modi and then there's everyone else. Kamal Farooqi.
Yeah, I just want to know, you said about MP from Muzaffarnagar and you said rewarded. Rewarded for what?
Well, they've done really well in all of Western Uttar Pradesh.
No, but rewarded for what?
Sure, that's a fair question which will be asked.
He's an MP, there is no doubt about it. But you said rewarded. Rewarded for the things which have happened in Muzaffarnagar or something else?
Do you think Narendra Modi has done enough so far to reach out to his critics to appear inclusive?
I do not know.
To want to take everyone along?
It's only the time will tell us.
No, but in terms of what you've seen so far, Mr. Farooqi.
I do not know.
Mr. Farooqi, may I say one thing? I think it takes two to tango, and I think what Maulana Madani has done is the right thing.
Yeah.
And I think that what Maulana Madani has done should be mutual. Because there's no point in just going on and on about this.
I'm totally with you on that. But I was a part of it. But I'm said when Rahul said na rewarded, that is the kind of thing which has.
That's fair. But I think in fairness.
No. That's not unfair. Those of us who went to Muzaffarnagar know exactly what he did, and also we know exactly what Mulayam didn't do. And Mulayam, in a sense, has also been rewarded by getting cut down to size.
Yeah, quite right.
So these things, it's okay. We should at least know what has happened, even if we don't want to make a fuss about it. And I think what Mr. Madani is saying is that keep it in proportion. Because some things you have to protest against,
okay,
but you should keep it in proportion.
I just want to take a moment to look into the future and talk about what will happen at the Hyderabad House dinner, which is where Narendra Modi will actually get to spend some quality time with all these SAARC dignitaries who are so far just looking at proceedings. How do you think that might go? South Asian leaders, Vir Sanghvi, responding to India's new Prime Minister.
Nothing will happen. We've all attended enough of these Hyderabad House dinners. Nothing happens. It's formalities.
No, but there's a difference. In Hyderabad House, usually there's so much bonhomie and camaraderie because everyone knows everyone. Here you've got a new order. That new order is gate crash Hyderabad House in some senses that they've changed the existing order. It's completely been
the
turned
dinner
around.
is in place.
The it's 25 people in Rashtrapati Bhavan as far as I know.
There's
It's
no
a
way the
small
president
dinner for
would
25 people in Rashtrapati Bhavan. I imagine they will, I mean, to answer your question, I think you're still right. What will happen is Nawaz will size up Modi, Modi will size up Nawaz. These are people who've heard stories about each other, have come to conclusions. They're now seeing each other face to face. They will try and work out what the other guy is like. I would be surprised if they weren't both curious and a little nervous about each other.
And I would also be surprised if they didn't talk a lot about the food. Probably to avoid engaging with anything really serious, because I think that's the mood of the moment. The president will make sure that he lets
I think
everybody.
one thing that will happen is that what Karzai has done, blaming the LET for Herat, that will stay in Modi's mind, and the next time there's a meeting with anyone important from Pakistan, he'll raise it.
I think the short meetings that they have,
That's
that
tomorrow.
is where,
That's more
tomorrow.
important.
That is where Modi will have this at the back of his mind.
No, because
and he
when
might
the swearing in
outline,
ceremony was going on, we played out that interview which Gaurav Sawant had done with Afghan President Hamid Karzai. And in that he's squarely blaming Pakistan. General Malik, how do you see that play out? Hamid Karzai on Indian soil blaming Pakistan for the attack at the Consul General in Herat.
Look, firstly, problem between Afghanistan and Pakistan has been there for a very long time. And the second thing I want to mention is that here again, Pakistan army controls the policy towards Afghanistan. So Pakistan's policy towards Afghanistan still remains with Pakistan army, and therefore Karzai has always been blaming the Pakistan army, which is supporting the militants in Afghanistan. Now, Karzai himself is going away, and he wants to continue with good relations. He wants to continue good relations between Afghanistan and India, which is quite obvious. And I think he is quite capable of telling. He's spoken earlier also and blame Pakistan for whatever has been happening lately in Afghanistan, and particularly Herat. And most people have been speaking from Afghanistan, blaming Pakistan army and militants supported by Pakistan army.
Narendra Modi has announced his new team. You're seeing these images from the photo opportunity that's been put together. Beaming faces, and they've got reason to be happy. Uma Bharti went out and tweeted her portfolio long before Rashtrapati Bhavan put out the official press release, but they will do with such minor bloopers for the day. I want to begin by getting our experts, starting with Shiv Vishwanathan, to take our viewers through the new power dynamic in Delhi. Who do you think is the biggest gainer today? Who do you think is the biggest loser today?
Well, in terms of gains, I think it's the women who score. But I think in terms of power, it's very clear that the first four have a different kind of weightage, a different kind of gravitas. But to me, the interesting thing was what I call the sideshow. Hamid Karzai talking, diverting attention from Pakistan. If that was done deliberately, I think it was a brilliant move.
Kamal Mitra Chinoy, biggest gainer, biggest loser from Modi's new cabinet.
Well, the biggest gainer, of course, is Modi himself, because he's got so many ministers with independent charge that it will really be his cabinet. I mean, he'll have very firm control. Then he showed that he can think out of the box. So that's Nirmala Sitharaman, Piyush Goyal. So I think it's compared to the usual cabinet you see, where very often they're old, die-hard politicians, or there are some people who come from a moneyed background. This one, you can see here that there's so many people who worked in the RSS. So he really will have no problem.
There it is, that moment where Nawaz Sharif shook hands very briefly with India's new Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Also now Mahinda Rajapakse, the President of Sri Lanka, the Speaker now of Bangladesh, greeting Narendra Modi. These are very, very important images. And it's being said that Bangladesh could possibly be the first country that Narendra Modi visits. And if he does, what's the message, Dr. Varmani, that you think Narendra Modi would be sending out? That, of course, is Hamid Karzai, the President of Afghanistan, now greeting Narendra Modi. Sir.
Well, it could be Bangladesh, it could be Japan. But anyway, I think it's made very clear in the few statements he's made over the last 12 months. Plus, if you read them along with the manifesto, that he's going to pay much more attention to to the neighborhood plus east of the Asian continent. So he's going to work on those. And one of the things which I had tweeted on earlier was that he'll be a multitasker. Somebody said focus on the domestic only first. Well, he can focus on the domestic and foreign and everything at the same time once he has his ministers in place.
He's got many balls up in the air.
Yeah.
And that, Dilip Charan, could possibly be one of the characteristics of Modi as Prime Minister.
He also
has the advantage
of what he wants with Bangladesh in the manifesto and his speeches. He wants to stop immigration from there into India because that's a big problem in the northeast.
I think he also has a cabinet which has 4 chief ministers in it, 4 former chief ministers in it, which shows that he has carefully picked and chosen talent to actually manage the economy and manage the polity, which is a smart thing. A lot of women, no consideration to regional balances. For example, very few representations from Rajasthan.
That's an important moment. Narendra Modi meeting former Prime Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh. He, of course, will now be checking into 7 Racecourse Road. It's the last afternoon that Manmohan Singh spent over there. He'll now be in Sheila Dikshit's former residence of 3 Motilal Nehru Marg. That's Narendra Modi mingling with the crowd. And that's the one thing that he's been saying constantly, that he wants to be a people's Prime Minister. He wants to be where the people is. Whether it is Varanasi, whether it is Vadodara, he wants to be in the middle of his people. And even on the website that's just been put out, Vir Sanghvi, he says he wants it to be a two-way communication. He wants to reach out to people directly. That's something that he constantly wants to do.
There's a subtext to that.
Yes.
He wants to reach out to people over the heads of the party, over the heads of the cabinet. He sees himself as a presidential
and over
figure.
the heads of traditional media.
Yes. He sees himself as a presidential figure who's been more or less directly elected by the people of India. He wants to keep that connection alive. He doesn't really need you or me. He's got digital media. He's got new media. He's got things working for him. No. He's got his own charisma. He's got his own appeal. I think he's trying to rewrite the way in which a prime minister interacts with the people of India.
And I think you're right. He's become a presidential candidate rather than a prime minister.
And in the statement that he's put out, he actually talks of using social media to reach out to people. And that is very interesting because he says, I will keep updating about my latest speeches, schedules, foreign trips, and a lot more. I'm a firm believer in the power of technology and social media to communicate with people across the world. I hope this platform creates opportunities to listen, learn, and share one's views.
Which he has done virtually the moment after he was sworn in. The new PMO website has gone up. Yeah. So it's almost instantaneous. His back room is clearly working as quickly as the forecourt of Rashtrapati Bhavan.
And actually, this is consistent with what Vir said, that a lot of the ministers are good communicators. So clearly he gives a lot of emphasis to communicating with the public and keeping them on board with his policies.
No, because here I'd like to say 2 things.
Yes, Mr.
One is that his reputation is of a person who has a lot of information with him, in addition to what he is fed by his bureaucrats or his team. So he already has channels which he's demonstrated. And when you're talking about being a people's leader, one thing I do hope that he does do, and it will certainly boost his popularity, is take care of the security apparatus that is around him, which seems to bother a number of people. I mean, not only him, but generally around places like Delhi, ordinary people. And that will make a big difference.
No, but that he hasn't been very mindful of. In Gujarat as well, he has a big cavalcade. He's a very high value target, and therefore it's also natural for him to ensure that there's adequate security around.
Yeah, but he can reduce the extent of disruption of public life
that would be
when he moves.
If he does it.
And I think there are methods by which he can do it, and he probably might.
But he needs this kind of security, in fact, looking into the whole thing.
No, certainly.
Definitely he needs
security around it. It can become more sophisticated. That's what I'm trying to say.
It can be less obtrusive. For example, we saw just this week, President Barack Obama actually go for a walk. Yeah. He had to go for a meeting. He walked across on the lawns in front of the White House to the venue where that meeting had to take place in the Commerce Ministry.
In fact, in Washington, the security is not visible. It's not overt. And yet it's there. It's all pervasive. That's the kind of thing perhaps we could bring in here.
You know, we've seen all these SAARC leaders at Narendra Modi swearing in. General VP Malik, how do you see Modi, the Prime Minister, being different from Manmohan Singh, the Prime Minister, when it comes to handling our immediate neighborhood, sir?
A great deal of difference. Dr. Manmohan Singh was soft. He was never assertive. and slowly all the power that India had acquired few years earlier, that got taken away. While now you have a more assertive leader, more confident leader who is backed by the entire country, so you have a totally different kind of leadership which is bound to make a lot of difference on the neighborhood. And I have no doubt that people all around us are already feeling it. So I have a feeling that interaction that we will have all with our neighbors, it would be more confident, and India will be able to acquire the image of a regional leader. I'm not talking in terms of hegemon, but I'm talking of being able to convey its point of view more confidently than we were able to do in the last few years.
Okay, because India's relations with all South Asian countries, Mr. Ranade, has mostly been messed up over the last few years. Will we see Narendra Modi be able to set right that paradigm, bring South Asian neighbors back on India's good books?
I think, in fact, this is the first step, this swearing-in ceremony. He's thought out of the box. He's emphasized India's neighborhood in a way. He has signaled to the people that you join us and benefit from our growth. I won't use the word rise, but from our growth. I think these signals he's already pushed out. Now the next step is, after his meetings, whether he starts visiting them more frequently without the edifice of formality. I mean, working visits kind of thing, like happen in Europe, where he can transact business and move things along much quicker. I think that those are the kind of messages that I interpret from just this one event.
And what does the power that he holds, and starting with Kamal Farooqi, mean for India and the world? The fact that never before has there been so much expectation carried on the shoulders of one person. Never before has one leader in India's history in the last 30 odd years had as much power and responsibility.
Yeah, he has got the complete mandate, plus he has got that ability to convert whatever he has committed earlier. So we are pretty confident that he would make a very impressive progress. And
what do you make of the presence of so many sadhu sons on the front row, including Sadhvi Rithambara?
Ours is a religious society, so I feel that all these things are relevant. There's absolutely nothing. We have seen some bohras also, a lot of bohras over there, some sadhus, some Sikhs. So we belong to that culture wherein the religious people are always a good omen for us.
But Mr. Farooqi is clearly not going to say it, so I'll say it. I found the presence of Sadhvi Rithambara there in the front rows particularly offensive, given her role in the Babri Masid demolition. I never thought a day would come when she would be feted in Rashtrapati Bhavan in this manner. I'm only surprised that when the audience chanted Modi, Modi, she didn't reflexively shout Ek Dhakka Aur Do. Because that's the kind of thing she shouts normally. I thought it was really offensive and a worrying sign for the future.
No, but these are people who can legitimately claim that they've worked towards a Modi
Sadhvi
victory.
Rithambara? No.
All
She's a
of
woman
them.
who has worked towards separating communities. She's not been a campaign worker for the BJP.
She makes Uma Bharti seem like
Like a moderate, like a lovable, cuddly, lovable teddy bear. Have you heard the vicious speeches she's made?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. That's a very worrying sign.
against even Mullah Mulayam.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to focus on what people think would be the priorities of the new Modi government. Should he try and follow an approach where he's got clearly outlined priorities, he numbers them and follows it as per a number? Dr. Varmani is someone who's seen government at close quarters, or do you think he should try and do multiple things at the same time?
No, I think my guess is that he is going to do multiple things. It's going to come from the ministries. You know, the next stage is going to be the ministries getting their advisors, etc. together. I think somebody said technical people and bureaucrats. Those have to be in place before you can really get going. But I think it won't be like I have 3 priorities. I think each ministry will be asked to give their priorities, and he's going to have all those at the same time. This is the result of this, what is reputed to be this 18-hour work.
He apparently told the cabinet ministers this morning that I work 18-hour days and I expect you to work 18-hour days as well.
Yeah. Well, that may not happen, but his 18-hour means everybody has to work at least 12
are from the Sangh Parivar. It might be difficult for us to work 18 hours.
There's an
for them
additional
it's-
thing.
Which is what?
He is known to have focus, complete focus for meetings up to 8 hours, which is a very rare thing. So it's not just that he works hard, he focuses.
If I may
This is
be
certainly not going
a
to be a
little
government that
facetious,
parties hard.
if the ministers work 8 hours a day, that will be enough.
No, but this man, if you see, from 6 a.m. in the morning till about 11:30, 12 every night. He's working every single day, Saturday, Sunday included. Doesn't need to take a break at all. How does he go on doing this, Dilip Chere?
You know, he has two secrets. One is, of course, the fact that he's completely devoted to work. He doesn't go out anywhere for dinner, all of that. But the second is that he is backed up by a whole team of interns, for example, who provide him with background material on everything. They pre-digest everything in a manner that almost no chief minister has ever done before. So this is a man who knows how to work managerial systems.
Well, and he's a very disciplined person.
Oh, absolutely.
Which means he'll get his
Mr.
cabinet to
Faruqi
work.
see a lot of good things in Narendra Modi this
we have
evening.
to see in our Prime Minister.
Oh, absolutely, and that's good.
Now he's been sworn in.
Because he is now India's Prime Minister, so everyone really needs to get used to saying Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Pradhan Mantri
I'm
Narendra
just
Modi.
curious
That's
about
something.
one factoid.
Yes.
How many cabinets have had more women than this?
No, and a 25% ratio. That's huge. And given the sort of mandate that the BJP now has, and that you've got Congress as a smaller opposition, there's no reason why the women's reservation bill should now not be passed, because you don't have the RJDs, the SPs in any position to be able to derail that. So let's see if Narendra Modi can deliver. In case you missed it, this is the moment of the evening. Prime Minister Narendra Modi being sworn in by President Pranab Mukherjee. Here also, Prime Minister on his new website, the mandate was for development, good governance and stability. Let's script India's glorious future. We seek your support, blessing and active participation. There's a fancy new PMO website that's been put up. His Twitter handle designation also has been changed. Together, he says, we will script a new beginning. Let us dream for a strong, developed and inclusive India. India will boost world peace and development. Hope this website will help to listen, learn and share. He talks of the role that social media will play and how he hopes to reach out directly to people. Here is Narendra Modi being sworn in as India's new Prime Minister by President Pranab Mukherjee.
मैं नरेंद्र दामोदर दास मोदी ईश्वर की शपथ लेता हूं कि मैं विधि द्वारा स्थापित भारत के संविधान के प्रति सच्ची श्रद्धा और निष्ठा रखूंगा। मैं भारत की प्रभुता और अखंडता का अक्षुण्ण रखूंगा। मैं संघ के प्रधानमंत्री के रूप में अपने कर्तव्यों का श्रद्धापूर्वक और शुद्ध अंतःकरण से निर्वहन करूंगा तथा मैं भय या पक्षपात, अनुराग या द्वेष के बिना सभी प्रकार के लोगों के प्रति संविधान और विधि के अनुसार न्याय करूंगा। मैं नरेंद्र दामोदर दास मोदी ईश्वर की शपथ लेता हूं कि जो विषय संघ के प्रधानमंत्री के रूप में मेरे विचार के लिए लाया जाएगा अथवा मुझे ज्ञात होगा, उसे किसी व्यक्ति या व्यक्तियों को तब के सिवाय जबकि प्रधानमंत्री के रूप में अपने कर्तव्यों के सम्यक निर्वहन के लिए ऐसा करना अपेक्षित हो, मैं प्रत्यक्ष अथवा अप्रत्यक्ष रूप से संसूचित या प्रकट नहीं करूंगा।
What a big moment it is for this man, India's new Prime Minister Narendra Modi. These are images from a special aarti being performed at the Dashashwamedh Ghat in Varanasi, where crackers were burst in honor of India's new Prime Minister Narendra Modi. And Varanasi has a huge host of expectations from its Member of Parliament. They're hoping that the Ganga will be cleaned up. That task force has been given to Uma Bharti, the MP from Jhansi, who's become the new Minister for Water Resources and for cleaning the Ganga. Madhu Kishwar, just left Rashtrapati Bhavan to join us in our studios. You were there. Everyone else who had an invitation was stuck in the studios, but we are jealous of the fact that you got to go there. What was it like, Madhu?
Rahul, I have to admit it was a nightmare. I went there with totally different expectations because having attended scores of events in Gujarat organized by Narendra Modi, even modest Kisan Melas in districts with 20,000, 40,000 attendants are far better organized. This was a nightmare. To begin with, I am appalled by the lack of security and vigilance. We were all expected to carry our iCards. No one checked, not just mine, no one else's. iCards were checked. So I could have given away my invitation to whoever I wanted to. Even the body frisking was so poor. I walked in and out 4 times. First time they kind of casually checked, then not even that. Then even things like, it was so hot. They asked people to come at 4 o'clock. So you had all these suited, booted ambassadors, and you had these foreign guests, all kinds of. They were sweating. It was hot. The system of cooling was so shoddy. People were sweating. Within 20 minutes, I felt so unwell that I walked out. Then there was no system for calling your cars. The car parks were not linked to any system of beckoning.
Madhu Kishwar's
Pani tak, people were not being served. People sat from 4 o'clock to God knows when, and I left early. With me also, I got a lift from someone else because I couldn't get my car.
Well, you saw history being made.
I'm sorry, if somebody wanted to revenge themselves on Narendra Modi for having organized, such a shoddy,
you can't blame, you can't be so
lusterless, lifeless, soulless tamasha, which everybody felt wretched about because you didn't even have water in that heat.
Welcome to Delhi.
It was awful. I don't know how they could get away with it with such dignity.
I need to slip into a quick break. When we come back, we'll play out the interview with Afghan President Hamid Karzai, and he has a very important message for Pakistan. He's accusing Pakistan of stoking terror in Afghanistan, and this at a time when Nawaz Sharif is in India. Very, very important interview and a headlines today exclusive when we come back on the other side of this break.